Hey, my name is Shadowsense, and you're watching Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. I got my Ankh necklace. I don't know how well you can see that in this dim light, but it's the logo for the game. And I got that from Deviant Angel Emporium on Etsy, so shout out to them. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check out their shop. I really like this. This is going to become like a daily necklace for me now. I usually wear my inverted cross, but I think this is going to replace the inverted cross. Anyway, we have half a night to go do something else. We can hang out with Hope again. I forget this dude's name. D'Angelo. That's right. We also have Somebody's Watching Me and the weird invite we got from the church. You know what? I would like to check that out. No, we do have to help Agathon with Juno. But I'm going to go to the church. You've received an invitation to meet a mysterious someone at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. You haven't been to a church since you became a vampire, or kindred as the euphemism goes. You've had to focus on concrete, practical things like survival and feeding. You've learned the essentials of the vampire experience, but you don't really have a clear idea of what it all means. The Cathedral of St. John the Divine is a New York landmark. You've been inside once before when you were much younger. You marveled at its Gothic facade. Looking at it now from across the street, it feels ominous. The prospect of an anonymous invitation to a secret meeting is a worrying one, but the venue is well chosen. It's hard to imagine a violent attack in a place like this with eyes everywhere. You enter the cathedral discreetly. You've quickly learned this is an essential skill for a vampire, how to move without anyone noticing you. The full force of the cathedral's architecture hits you as you walk between the pews. If the architect meant to create the feeling of being small in the face of God's glory, mission accomplished. Based on the note, you're assuming that whoever you're meeting is somewhere in the front. As you step closer to the high altar, it feels as if something is dragging at your feet, as if the stone beneath you resisted your movement. Religion is superstition. It must be your nerves. As you try to shake the feeling of a crushing foreboding, it occurs to you that vampires are superstition too. There's an old man sitting in the front. You see only the back of his head, bowed down in a silent prayer. Your footsteps echo on the floor and he turns to look at you. You can't take your eyes off him. He's tall, dignified, white hair balding, a few strands escaping to the sides. He's wearing glasses and simple clerical clothing. His eyes are warm and pale, too kind for someone like you. Something is wrong. You feel heavy as if a giant hand was pressing you down. The skin on your face is burning. Perhaps unconsciously you expected something like this as a vampire walking into a cathedral. But it's not the building or God making you feel like you're burning alive. It's the man, the priest. Welcome, my child. The priest's tone is kind, but the rising panic inside is telling you that kindness is not for the likes of you. There's only one way to the only way to understand these painful feelings is to push forward and confront the priest. As you step closer to the priest, panic rises inside you. The emotions are hard to control. Fear, anger, pain, all trying to wrestle you in different directions. Away. Can I help you? Are you okay? The priest talks to you like you would a lost vagrant who has chosen to enter the house of God. How are you doing this? I'm afraid I don't understand. It's simply too much. You mutter something incoherent in reply. You don't sound like a vampire, an undead being made powerful by immortal blood. You're just another sad, confused, lost soul. You turn around and stagger away, only feeling like yourself once you're back in the street outside. You stand on the sidewalk confused and scared. No enemies seem to be attacking you. The priest didn't follow you. The night air is wet with the smells of the city, the same as every night. How did it feel? You look at the man speaking to you. He's well dressed, if a little archaic, dark-haired, handsome, like a character from an old movie. He smiles as if he knows something you don't. You glance around. There are people on the street. You don't appear to be in immediate danger. Yeah, what the fuck? Did you do this to me? No, absolutely not. Let me introduce myself. My name is Benoit Segal. We share many things in common, even if you don't know me. Benoit offers his hand to you. Might as well be friendly and cordial. Benoit's handshake is firm and dry. He looks at you intently, as if trying to find something in your eyes. Would you mind sitting with me for a moment? Benoit points to a park bench nearby in darkness because of a broken streetlight. Wary, you decide to follow him. Only an enemy totally unconcerned with the Masquerade would attack you here. Benoit sits down and you follow suit. For a moment, you both contemplate the cathedral in silence. I know how it feels, what you just felt. I've experienced it myself many times. For a moment, you consider how to respond. It's clear Benoit sent the invitation to come here and orchestrated this little setup. Did you just try to get me killed? No, it's possible you could die, but it requires an immense force of will to remain in their presence. I knew you didn't have it in you. I wanted you to meet Father Anthony, or see him, experience him. Did you wonder why it felt like that? Yeah. At first I thought it was because I was in a church, but then I realized it came from him, the priest. I think you're right. It does come from him. It's his faith that makes you feel like that. He's safe in his belief while you are one of the damned. Do you ever wonder what's the role of a vampire in God's creation? You stop to think. Of course you wondered what this is all about. Whether it's about God or nature, you don't really know what being a vampire means. That's the trouble with the Masquerade. A human faced with human problem can go online and find something that helps. You can't. The Masquerade means that everything there is to know about your condition is secret, hidden away. You're left relying on the unreliable opinions of people like Benoit. Suddenly, Benoit takes your hand and presses it against his chest. As he stares into your eyes, you feel his heart stop. My heart no longer beats, yet I move, I talk. Is that how God intended us to be? No, he didn't. I know he didn't. This is wrong. Yes, I agree. The question is, can there be salvation for the likes of us? Sometimes I'm skeptical too, but in Father Anthony's presence I know faith is real. I know it because it hurts so much. But perhaps you have questions about faith in our kind? I have a lot. So, the lore behind Vampire the Masquerade is that it's generally accepted that all vampires are descendant of the biblical Cain who killed his brother Abel and then was cursed with vampirism. It is believed that the antediluvians, which are these 13 ancient vampires that gave birth to all the different bloodlines in the game, are all direct descendants of Cain. Meaning all vampires are direct descendants of Cain. Now, I believe the Camarilla doesn't really believe in this anymore. They think that's just a myth. But the Sabbat, for sure, believes in this very heavily. And the Sabbat are another faction of vampires that believe, hey, we should be the ones ruling humanity. They shouldn't be ruling us. It should be us ruling them. Gets a little weird. So religion is like a provable thing in the game, I guess. It's strange. How do you know any of these stories are true? I don't. How could I know? This is what faith is. You have to believe in something. Good and evil, right and wrong, love and hate. I believe we are damned. I also believe there is always hope. Grace. Father Anthony's faith shows me the way. It's so easy for us to lose ourselves in a morass of occult speculation. Some of our kind revere Cain, others Lilith. Many in the Camarilla place their faith in the invisible guidance of the Methuselahs who are supposed to watch over us. That's another class of vampire, Methuselah. Yet I wonder how much of that really matters when compared to the character of a good man. This is a lot to take in. All these myths. Hard to know what to believe. I know it's overwhelming. It was for me when I first met Father Anthony. I know there are others like him, whose faith shines like a beacon. Priests, old ladies, children. Anyone can have that conviction inside of them. I have to go. I can't concentrate when I know the priest is still inside. Benoit nods patiently. Let's meet again in a few nights here at the cathedral. We can talk more after you've thought it through. You leave Benoit sitting in the shadow of the cathedral, contemplating what lies within. It would be easier to ignore his words without the reality of what you've experienced. Father Anthony was holy. You know it to be true. But what does that mean? Fuck if I know what that means. I guess I could still use this time to, like, no, I gotta rest. Hello? There's a sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's Haven. She could use your help with the problem. You know what? I'm gonna go help, Agathon. Juno, the notes? You find the mystery of Agathon's research tantalizing enough to pay him a visit. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's Haven. The cacophony of occult imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade, there's something real. This time, the Buddhas and the satanic Bibles of the storefront seem almost funny, or perhaps you've just started to tune into the dry humor of these Tremere. Just as you're about to ring the doorbell, the door opens and Agathon storms out. You step aside just in time to avoid having him stumble into you. Shadow, what are you doing here? Look, I came to help you, like last time. Okay, fine, you're right, follow me. He seems very wound tight. As he turns to go, Agathon looks almost pleased that you're here. Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle. An aging, mid-sized family sedan. You imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back. Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon notices your look. Laugh all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical. You sit in the car and Agathon starts driving in his usual careful style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. I love a good mystery as much as the next vampire, but at some point you have to tell me what we're doing. Let me ask you a question in return. Have you ever tasted animal blood? From sheep, for example. I have not. New York is not the best place to hunt for wildlife, you know. You'd be surprised. There are plenty of pigeons, rats, dogs, cats. But your instinct is correct. Animal blood tastes vile. If it didn't, our own lives would be very different. Anyway, something to think about. You exit Manhattan over the Brooklyn Bridge and soon reach the site of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, a converted former warehouse. With a start, you recognize this place. The club where fate latched its cold, grubby hands onto your soul. You wanted to party, but instead you became a monster. How's that for a hangover? After Agathon parks the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Tremere, evaluating him. It's obvious this is not his kind of place. There's a good chance the research notes are here. You're not certain what we're looking for is here? Nothing in life or death is certain. And that's true. That's just true. There's a line into the club. It looks like a popular spot, even if, based on the crowd, this is not exactly the place for supermodels and celebrities. Yeah, I'm gonna try to charm. You walk up to the man at the door and smile. Hey, you remember me, right? Mind if we go in? The bouncer looks at you, taken in by your supernatural charisma. It doesn't matter whether he really remembers you or not. Sure, go right in. Have a great night. You'll walk into the club, ignoring all the people standing in line. Yeah, now we're back. Dionysus! At least I think that's Dionysus. I could be wrong. The music beats down on you, bringing with it the memories of human existence. The first time you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor. This time it's different. You're a predator and everyone around you is prey. Tightly packed, twitching sacks of blood and tissue. You sense the emotions all around you. Blood tinted with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy, love, a buffet of sensations. Focus. Keep an eye out for trouble while I look for what we came to find. You nod and follow Agathon through the throng, trying to ignore all the warmth, flesh, and circulating blood around you. I could... That would... that's... Oh... This is a feeding opportunity. I gotta focus. Eyes on the prize. You came here to help Agathon, and that's what you'll do. Agathon wades through the dancing people with purpose, but you have no idea how he's searching for the missing research notes. Perhaps he's using the enhanced senses of a vampire or some esoteric sorcery. At least he seems to know what he's doing. Juno. You swerve to avoid a drunken man who is just about to spill beer on you and try to see what Agathon is looking at. A young woman. Intense. Purposeful. A little out of place at the nightclub, just like you and Agathon. Who's Juno? She's from here. A renegade. Bad news. The woman, Juno, elbows a drunken man out of her way and points a finger at Agathon's face. Agathon, you traitor! Don't you dare stand between me and what's mine. You look at the woman in surprise. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words. Juno, you know Aisling will not let you leave with the notes. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all. Juno pulls close to Agathon's face and stage whispers loudly enough for you to hear her over the music. You're still so brainwashed that you don't care about what Aisling fucking Sturbridge wants. I'm done jumping through her hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. Oh boy, this seems a little intense. What do you mean brainwashed? You brainwashed Agathon? Agathon looks around the dimly lit crowd, clearly too exasperated for words. That's what they do in the pyramid. Recruit us little loyal soldiers for the Council of Seven. But no more. It's not the same thing as brainwashing. I work with Aisling out of my free will. Are you seriously telling me that Aisling asked for your permission before she turned you into a fucking vampire? Agathon winces visibly at the word vampire. Fortunately, the loud beat of the music drowns out Juno's voice. That would make her unique among our kind. They sure as fuck didn't ask me. Actually, many vampires embrace only after asking for permission. This is so like you, Agathon. You just can't let anything go without making one of your little corrections. Juno, please. Juno steps back, suddenly cold. Ignoring all the people dancing all around, she stares hard at Agathon. The past is past. The traditions are dead to me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'll make sure of that here and now. You know I have the power. No, Juno, please. Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but the possibility that Juno's going to unleash a genuine masquerade breach. I'm gonna use my presence. Calling on the powers of your blood, you step closer to Juno between her and Agathon. Agathon was being an asshole. Don't hurt yourself just to get back at him. He's not worth it. Juno looks at you in the eye, and you can see that she's tired and scared. Defecting from the Tremere is not easy or safe. You're right. She turns to go, then stops and glances back at you. You should pick better friends. With that, Juno walks through the oblivious dancers toward the exit. Looking around you, you realize that Agathon didn't stay to witness your exchange with Juno. Instead, he worked his way around the dancing crowd looking for the notes using his arcane methods. After Juno is gone, he returns, shaking his head. The notes were here, but not anymore. It's possible someone grabbed them when they hunted here. After making sure Juno is nowhere to be seen, you and Agathon push your way back outside. Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentioned some very personal things. I trust your discretion in not discussing those things with Aisling. Your love life is your business. Thank you. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven and he parks the car. You walk to the occult bookstore and Agathon invites you inside. The smell of incense assaults you as before, making you grateful you don't have to breathe. You follow Agathon upstairs to find Aisling Sturbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. You were successful, I hope. No, I'm sorry. The notes were there at some point, but not anymore. That's a shame. Hope you don't run out of time. How did Sophie's little protege do? Agathon turns to look at you. Well, surprisingly well. That's a surprise. I'll have to compliment Sophie on her choice. We met Juno. Fortunately, she couldn't find the notes either. That's interesting. The High Regent turns to look at you. What was your impression of Juno, fledgling? She was very angry. I don't know what you people did to her, but she's pissed. What we did? Careful now, fledgling. She made her own choices, bad as they were. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon. We're along now. You leave the occult bookstore, the cheesy, mystical music still in your ears as you walk away. You wonder about what happened with Juno. Why is she so anxious to leave her clan? Can she really do that? Could you leave Sophie's service if you wanted to? I suppose I probably could, right? Yeah, I probably could, if I really wanted to. You know what? I'll decide what to do. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. That was all very interesting. The cathedral stuff especially interesting. I really like that. I know I'm not a big fan of like holy water and crosses repelling vampires, but there's something really interesting about someone's faith being so powerful it physically harms you. That's really interesting to me, so I'm going to explore that. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.